Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews. Happy Thanksgiving. And thankfully, this is what I'm thankful for right now, is X-Force number 2. For any doubts I have for any other books, here's the variant. Let's just get that out of the way. This is Zafino variant. Crazy looking. I love it. So X-Force number 2 solidifies in my mind this is the best X book out there over any other of the books. Uh, because, man, Percy is killing it. Percy understands this stuff. Man, he knows Wolverine. He knows, and we get so many great explanations, and I feel freaking vindicated. Look, it's like when it's like watching The Irishman, man. It's like, when you're just waiting for something that you know is going to be good. This is what it feels like when I'm picking up X-Force. Like every time I read an issue of X-Force, any X-Force book basically to me hasn't really been a disappointment for the most part. But man, let's jump in because we start right at the end, like right after he got shot in the head. And that's the part that I didn't consider, is that not only did they shoot Xavier, they shot Cerebro. And they only have one Cerebro working at a time, which means that if you shoot him, that means that the backups have to be brought back online from another Cerebro. But guess who knows how to do that? Charles. You take out Charles, you change the ability possibly to get a Cerebro back online, and if you get it back online, does that mean that you even do it right? So in a way, shooting Xavier in the head was like one of the most brilliant things that the humans could do. They suck, but they're not. But we also get something that I had only mildly entertained in my head, is I don't like to get too far out there with just, what about this? What about this? But I thought about the guys that were attacking, and I was like, they remind me of the Reavers, but they're not the Reavers because I know what they look like. But it doesn't mean that there can't be more or new Reavers. And that's what we have here. We have the next gen of Reavers attacking the island, and it's crazy. I love that we start right here, man, where they left the body there for everybody to see. And again, it was impactful. Like we said, like, what if death's not important anymore? But it is. They even bring it up in here. Like I said, it's like seeing your dad get shot in front of you. You know, like somebody, even though they know he can come back or should be able to come back, it doesn't change it, because they even say that doesn't make, like Gene says, that doesn't make seeing him down there any easier. Like, he knew this could happen, right? But there's a backup system in place. We have to trust that it will work. So there is impact. It is like you just get started. It is important. And if you can't get Cerebro back online, you might not be able to get anybody back. And so we start off with that. We talk about the Sword of Damocles, basically the Sword of Fate, and how Charles should have known that eventually, or would have known that it would eventually fall at some point. You know, that Beast is talking about how he puts himself out there and, opened himself up to this kind of thing. Magneto is probably, he seems like, he makes it into a literal sword, the Cerebro. So he's looking to take that sword and stick it where the sun don't shine for some people. Again, this is the hardcore book, man. This is the one that has parental advisory on it. Fucking A. So while Hank goes to work on that, the rest of them start looking at the people, the Reavers that are left behind, and what makes them tick. And it's amazing. We also get our white page here, the assassination query, right? And there's a few things in here that this is where it brings up the Reavers. And so that's a very important thing. I felt really, I was like, man, it's like this guy's reading my freaking mind. Or I was on top of this guy, like what was going on in this story before it was even happening. We find out like their whole body is like, everything is incorporated to be useful as something. There's no wasted product on these people. So even an extra bone can be used as a weapon. Their ears have, things that can be used for climbing and stuff. It's insane. It's awesome. I just can't begin to tell you. But they talk about the grafting. Also, Black Tom Cassidy feels really responsible here, and that's great. We get this great here with Logan popping the claws and popping them back in, and talking about uh, helping this guy, right? But not helping this guy. So he's like, which one's still alive? There's just one. He's barely holding on. Keep him that way. Snicked. But don't you dare make him comfortable. He deserves the hurt. And Healer, who is a Morlock, that's why nobody knows who he is. I'm not in the business of punishment. I heal. And then he goes, healing and hurting can be one and the same. Snacked. So basically, it's like every time he pops his claws, it hurts and heals. Hurts and heals. Like he even says in the first X-Men movie, does it hurt when they come out? Every time. But they realize that this skin is Domino's, and that they need Jean in here to find out if she's alive, and to kickstart the resurrection process if she's dead, so that we can get the last few remnants of her mind. But they're like, well, why don't you tell her? He's like, I mean, come on, it's that class. Look at that. I'm going hunting. So he goes off to Seoul, Korea, in South Korea, to find out what's going on. He doesn't understand computers, and that's when this Kid Omega shows up, right? Now here's where I show what I don't know. Okay, I don't know who Kid Omega is. He was in a couple of the books. I think he was in like the Jean Grey book from not too long ago when they brought her back. And I never fully understood his powers. I know he's like telekinetic and he's really smart. But there's, in this time period that we're talking about, all these really smart characters all of a sudden just started popping up. These kids with super genius level intellects like Amadeus Cho and everything. All these people that just like, I'm naturally smart. Like millennial wish fulfillment characters started coming out. But he's a good character to play off of Wolverine. Is that guy who's just gonna really like he wants to punch him, but he knows he needs him. It's kind of like how I feel like Sunspot is on the New Mutants, except less useful. I mean, Kid Omega is more useful than Sunspot is right now. So he's got everything figured out, which is great. It moves the plot along so that Wolverine doesn't have to like just be the blunt instrument throughout this whole book. I do like how he says, I can see inside your thick skull, and it's like a spent ashtray in a Depression-era hobo bar. Oh, man. I hope everybody else is loving this book as much as I am. I know some of the people that I follow and I talk to on a pretty regular basis like this book, too. But we get back to the priority at hand, which is getting Cerebro working so you can get Charles back. But it looks promising, but again, I feel like this right here, this moment here with Beast working on it and getting it done, right? Or looking like it's getting it done is going to be a huge thing. Like something's not going to be 100% correct here. So Wolvie and Kid Omega find this lab where it's basically all the parts of the Reavers where they can manufacture themselves, where they can make themselves more super soldiers and become bigger, better, versions of themselves. I love this freaking just spine and brain and eyes on a table. Like really, like I started thinking about things like Reanimator and stuff like that. It's just so weird and dark, and what people are willing to do to themselves. As humans, the desire to have power or to have powers and to have power, and the fear of mutants and what people will do to like make themselves evolve, like kind of like what we see in House of X and Powers of 10 with the way at the end of the universe where we make the deal with the Phalanx, where we can't evolve, the humans can't evolve themselves. So they force it. So if we can't be mutants, then we're going to make ourselves our own mutants. Like mutates, but like in this like sick Dr. Frankenstein type of way. than only freaking people do to themselves. You know what I mean? Look what people, there's people out there, man, that want to look like cats and stuff, right? You know, and they do the surgery. It's just messed up. But Jean goes inside the mind of the guy who's still alive. And we see like those faces. It reminds me of the Court of Owls a little bit, that she sees. And then we get the strange case of Phineas Hook, which just basically tells you what Charles and had Domino up to, and that it was all like the things that she was looking for were all part of this dummy corporation that doesn't really exist anymore. He's just an avatar. And then everything kind of goes bad. I also like how Wolverine doesn't like the way Kid Omega talks. Like, Kid Omega's attitude is, we're superior, like Magneto thinks, or did, he's going along to get along, but, he's more along the lines of old school Magneto, of like, we're superior, F these people, calling them disgustingly pathetic. This lab is like a chapel devoted to their insecurity. He's like, Wolverine's reaction's great, man. You're pissed off about Chuck. I am too. But if he was here, he'd slap you upside the head for that kind of talk. I know what Magneto says, but we're not gods, and they ain't devils. Percy, your book can't come out quick enough. We're all just a bunch of complicated animals fighting for control of the same forest. As he's lunging into action. I mean, come on, you can do whatever you want to these guys, but Kid Omega's powers aren't working, and so he has to actually fight with his fists, which he tells him to do, and that the reason they're fighting right now is because they're protecting something. And he doesn't even wait to find out. They're trying to hide someone. Find her. He knows already. He probably knew when he walked in. And yes, dag nabbit, I was right. I freaking... Look, I'm not trying to brag, but I told you she wasn't dead. Told you. I'm wrong a lot. So let me just enjoy this moment. Yeah. 1 second. Tastes like victory. So anyway, that's where the book ends. Come on now, folks. X-Force number 3 can't get here fast enough. So here's to the best book in the X.of.X era. I haven't read Fallen Angels number 2. I'm about to. So, man, it's got a lot to live up to. So, oh, man. So if you liked this review, man, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, yada, yada, yada. Otherwise, this is Rob saying we'll be back with Fallen Angels and The Irishman later on. So have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving, and peace out.